shoot, I didn't even know I was recording. What's going on, y'all? This is a different setup. I'm out here in the car. I just wanted to, be in, my own space. And I'm really just thinking, is that a plane? This is a random video. I know it's like 6 o'clock in the morning and I have not been asleep yet. I've been up all day and I just been up all night. Well, I got back home around 3 o'clock a.m. and from where I came from, I was like, you know what? It's time for a change. It is time for me to just look at all the stuff that I want to get rid of, all the things that I want to let go of, and just do something about it and just let it go. I just feel this dramatic urge to just get rid of stuff, like throw stuff away, because what I mean by that is clutter has a way of clogging up so many areas in our life, more specifically for me, to be transparent, financially. And I think that in order for me to really move forward and just to lighten my load, I really just need to letting stuff go. Like objects that I have like a certain feeling towards. I remember getting a resin piece from this business owner a couple years ago, and in the process of like receiving it, when she was bringing it to me, I was just like, oh my gosh, do I really have to pay for this? Like, why, like, oh my gosh, I don't want to spend that much on this object. And it was just like a resin jerry box, and I went ahead and paid for it. It went up like $15. And I was just thinking, like, put the heat on because I am cold. And I was just thinking, like, as I was just holding it, and that was like probably 4 years ago. And as I was in the living room, holding it, just asking myself, do I really want this? Could I give this to my, little cousin or something for Christmas? And I had that same thought came up, like, oh my gosh, I didn't even want to buy this. And it makes me think about some of the objects that we hold on to. It's a story behind those objects. And if I'm holding on to this object, what does that say about me? What does that say about my belief around money and my belief around, basically money? I was going to say belief around, certain objects, but really it's my belief around money, because I really didn't want to spend that much on it anyways. When it comes to the certain mindset I had during that time anyways, I really didn't want to spend my money on it, but I did it anyways because I felt like I had to, because it was basically a personal order. I was just talking, but I ended up getting it anyways. And so I guess it would go back to my belief that a belief of scarcity in a way. And that's one thing that I'm really having to let go of, is this belief that scarcity is real when it's really not. The only thing there is plentifulness. And I know it's just words saying that, and that's something that has to be continuously programmed into my brain, and to actually, like, undoubtedly know that. And so I was just letting go of all kind of art, like art that I had on my walls, some of the art, as I'm looking at it, in the basket in there, I'm just like, man, people won't even pay for this. And I think in my mind, because I tried to sell the stuff before, and it's just like, people still have not bought it yet. So I'm just like, do I just need to, donate all this stuff and get rid of it, get it out my space? Do I really need to do that? And I think that's what I'm gonna do, because I'm just tired of holding on to stuff when I could just make room for new creations to be birthed, my new way of creating art and going about art. Because when I think about it, in that space, it represented the old version of me, and it doesn't represent who I am now and the identity that I want to transform into as I move forward. Those art pieces represented an aspect of me that isn't true to who I am now, because I've come a long way. And when I experienced, when I was going through my breakup, I don't know, that sound kind of like, it sound like cringy, to say that, when I was going through my breakup. But when I was going through my let's see, how I want to call it, my tower moment, when I was experiencing my tower moment in 2019, when I was experiencing my tower moment in 2019, it was a new journey for me. I had to figure out who it is that I was. And from that place, I didn't know who I was. And that was the beginning of the pandemic. And when I tell you, during that whole time, I had the best time of my life, because I got to explore who it is that I am. But I feel that a part of who I was had a lot to do with what other people, what I grew up to believe about myself, and how I grew up to I guess behave, per se, let's just say that. And so it was more so from the space of just a different aspect of who I was. I feel like that was the first half of my journey, even though I'm still like moving out of it and into this new stage, right? I just feel that in order for something to happen, something has to happen. In order for us to create change in our life, see the positive change in our life, something has to happen. And shout out to Allison, because she brought this up. I'm big on giving people credit. Like, if I see something, if I hear something that somebody say, I'll definitely, be like, this is who I heard it from, and just that. And so in order for us to create what we want in our life, something has to change. Look at the butterfly in the cocoon. I'm sure that butterfly was so freaking comfortable in that cocoon. It was so comfortable. But during that process that butterfly was developing, it was growing. It was forming its wings. And in the beginning, that cocoon was hard. I'm pretty sure it was, I wouldn't say hard, but it had its own stages. It had its own stages of development as well. But as time went by, something had to happen in order for something to happen. That butterfly had to grow. That butterfly had to spread its wings and develop into the cocoon in order for that cocoon to break open. And that cocoon had to be secure enough around it for, over time, that cocoon can become delicate and weary like enough for the butterfly to break out of. So something has to happen. It's like a ripple effect. And so my question to you is, how are you creating change in your own life? And it annoys me sometimes how some people don't see that, okay, maybe it's time to do something different. Maybe this is not the way to go. And I know for me it's been that way, because I'm just like, yo, I can't keep going in the same cycle, getting the same result. I have to do something in order for me to have this breakthrough that I'm looking for. I have to make a change in order for, I had to stop doing the same thing that I know that's not working for me in order for me to move forward, in order for me to transform and develop into this woman that I am becoming. You feel me? That I am. Like, come on now. And it's annoying how many people get caught up in this cycle, and I get it. I get an aspect of it, but at the same time, I'm just like, I really wish, some people would see that and actually believe that and know that they can create change. Like, you don't have to continue to believe the same thing, And that's one thing I admire when I was younger, and even now. When I was younger, for example, I just knew that I just didn't have to work a job. I don't have to go in and clock into somebody else's establishment in order for me to make money, in order for me to be successful. And I had this idea in my head when I was freaking probably 15. And I remember being in my grandparents' house, and I guess I was saying that, when I get older, I want a art studio. I want a store where people can, do like tattoos, hair, stuff like that. It was a mixture of things. And one of the things my grandpa told me, he was like, oh, people ain't gonna pay you to do that. People ain't gonna pay you to do that. Hence why I have this belief that my art isn't valuable. That's the belief. Like, people won't pay me to do my art. And whenever I have a hint to, go create art, I'm just like, I abandon it and I neglect it. And that's one thing that I found myself in the space of doing, is neglecting my art. But naturally, I love creating things. I love piecing things together. I love art. I love creating art, and I always want to be like a famous artist. Like, not like famous where people like gather around me, but I just want to be exceptionally well. And I don't, I wouldn't say that, but I just want to be exceptionally well. I just want that to be an area where I'm freaking excellent in, like, excellent to the T, And when I heard that, as a little kid, and that was probably, I was probably a little younger, probably 13, because I remember when I first got my sketchbook and I first got on the computer. I want to say I started using a computer when I was 10 to 12, and I would just Google stuff. I would just YouTube stuff like how to draw a star shooting from fire, how to draw a teddy bear, how to draw a mushroom man, or I guess he would be like a shaman or whatever, how to draw that. And I just kept drawing. That's all I did. Like, I had my sketchbook. I would just draw and draw. And so that's an aspect of me that I need to get back to. And that's why I think that letting go of certain things, letting go of the things that is just taking up space, that is attached to my old identity, your old identity, I think that would be helpful and beneficial when it comes to moving forward in life, in your own journey. I think it's better to do it ourselves than to wait until the universe do it for us. And because many times the universe is already telling us, like, if you feel a certain way in your environment, it's time to shake something up. It's time to move some stuff around. It's time to get the energy flowing. It's trying to do something different, you know? And I say the environment because our environment is a reflection of who we are on the inside. It's a reflection of what's happening on the inside. So it's like me, if I wanted to continue to keep those paintings, it's like me holding on to an old version of me, right? When I can just let those things go and create from a new space. It's like, I mean, yeah, I could sell it, you know, I could do that, whatever, but I never got time for that. Shoot, people, I feel like, you know, somebody could appreciate that if they were to go into, you know, and not to devalue anything, but if someone was to go into a charity organization and see it that way, you know. And at the same time, it's like, it really doesn't matter. It matters, but I'm just like, okay, I just need to free up some space. I need to let go of some things. And I think that's what would create a ripple effect in other areas. Emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and financially. Definitely. That's what I think will create a ripple effect. So I've been up all night. And it is 6:36. I've been up all night. I'm cold. I should have kept the car on for a little bit more. I'm cold. So yeah. If there's some things that y'all need to let go of, let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go, honey. Because some things, even people, even objects, can carry a energetic cord to it. Like those paintings again, and even that, you know, the jewelry box that I mentioned, that cord of scarcity, you know, that cord of lack. When, you know, I can, you know, let that go. I can detach from that. Okay, that's not who I am no more. That's not who I am anymore. Because I think when we look at certain objects, we have to think about, what does it mean to us? How do we feel when we look at this object? How are we feeling? How does this thing make us feel? How do these people make us feel? You know, and sometimes we ignore how things make us feel, when our feelings, though sometimes, you know, our feelings can be like, you know, iffy. However, when it comes to feelings, there is a level of discernment that also comes with that. Discernment, you know, should also follow those feelings. And, you know, just using our brain and intuition and awareness to see how this thing, observe how this thing is making us feel and why. And be brave enough to let it go. So, in order for us to create change, in order for us to shift some things, we have to shift some things.